I stared at the empty folder on my screen, the cursor blinking like it was mocking me, and my supervisor just leaned back in his chair with that calm, almost bored smile. It's gone, Nadia. Delete was the only option. Start over. My hands went cold. 1 year of late nights, skipped family dinners and endless revisions, wiped clean in 3 seconds. But that wasn't even the worst part. 10 minutes later my phone rang, and the name on the screen belonged to our biggest competitor. My name is Nadia Khan. I'm 41 years old, living in a small house in the F10 sector of Islamabad with my husband Ahmed and our 2 children. For 15 years I've been the steady heartbeat of our home. Ahmed teaches history at a government school. His salary barely covers the school fees and the rising price of ATA and electricity. I'm the senior project lead at Apex Innovations, the one who brings home the real money. Every morning I wake to the soft call of the Azan mixing with the clatter of Bilal's school bag and little Amina's giggles. I make chai the way Ahmed likes it, strong, with a pinch of cardamom, and pack their lunchboxes while the smell of frying parathas fills our tiny kitchen. We sit together for 5 minutes before the rush, holding hands around the table, talking about dreams. Mine was always simple. Finish this one massive client proposal, get the promotion, and finally breathe. Ahmed would smile and say, "You carry us all, Nadia. Just don't forget to carry yourself too." For the last 12 months I had lived inside that proposal. Every spare hour after the kids slept, I worked on the designs, the market research, the detailed timelines. The scent of my laptop fan whirring late into the night became normal. Ahmed would bring me warm milk at midnight, kiss my forehead, and whisper, "Don't push too hard, John." I promised him the bonus would let us finally fix the leaking roof and maybe take the children to the hills for one weekend. I trusted my supervisor, Mr. Farouk, like an elder brother. He had mentored me for 7 years, praised my work in meetings, even sent sweets to my house on Eid. I never doubted him, until the little things started. 2 weeks ago he began closing his office door when I walked past. His replies to my updates grew short, almost clipped. One evening I caught him on a call in the corridor, speaking in a low voice, laughing in a way that felt wrong. When I asked if everything was okay with the project, he patted my shoulder and said, "Don't worry, Beta. I'm handling it." I told myself it was nothing. Bosses get busy. Families need the money. I pushed the doubt away and kept working. But that morning, when I opened the shared drive to attach the final files for the client presentation, it was empty. Every folder, every backup, every single file gone. I sat there in the glass-walled conference room, the air conditioner humming too loudly in the sudden silence, while Mr. Farouk scrolled through his phone as if we were discussing weekend plans. My throat felt thick, like I'd swallowed dry roti without water. How is everything just gone?" I managed to ask. He didn't even look up at first. Then he sighed, the way people do when they're tired of explaining something obvious. "Client feedback was brutal, Nadia. They said the direction was outdated. We couldn't present garbage and expect the contract. I made an executive decision. Executive decision. 3 words that erased 12 months of my life. I felt heat climb behind my eyes, but I kept my voice level. "You could have told me. We could have revised together. I had backups on my personal drive too." He cut me off with a small wave of his hand. "Personal drives are against policy. You know that. Besides, it's cleaner this way. Fresh start. You're good at starting over." I left his office on legs that didn't feel connected to me anymore. In the corridor, I passed the junior designers laughing over chai. The smell of elaichi and milk made my stomach turn. I went straight to the washroom, locked myself in the last stall, and pressed my forehead against the cool tile. My phone buzzed once, twice. I ignored it until the 3rd time. Unknown number. I answered without thinking. "Hello. Is this Nadia Khan from Apex?" The voice was polite, professional, with the faint Lahore accent that always sounds a little warmer than Islamabad ones. "This is Saad Rahman, creative director at Noviedge Solutions. We'd like to talk to you about an opportunity." My heart gave one hard knock. Noviedge. They were the reason Apex had been pushing this proposal so hard. They were the direct competitor for the same government infrastructure tender we'd been chasing for 2 years. I swallowed. "How did you get my number?" A short pause, then a soft laugh that wasn't cruel, just knowing. "Let's just say someone thought you deserved to hear the truth before Monday's board meeting. Can we meet? Today, if possible. There's a cafe near your office neutral grounds. 1 hour. I should have said no. I should have hung up, gone back to my desk, and started rebuilding like a good employee. But something in his tone, quiet respect, no gloating, made me say yes. Half an hour later, I sat across from Saad in a corner booth. He was younger than I expected, maybe 35, wearing a simple navy kurta and carrying himself like someone who didn't need to prove anything. He slid a printed email across the table. The subject line read, Project Zenith, Final Submission Files. Our project name, our files. Timestamped 2 days ago. Attached were screenshots, my slides, my charts, my exact wording, but rebranded with Novaedge's logo. He sold it to us, Saad said quietly. Your supervisor. Full package, asking price was high, but he was in a hurry. We didn't know it was stolen work until one of our analysts recognized your name in the metadata. We're not using it. We're submitting our own proposal. But you deserve to know. The paper trembled in my hand. The cafe's ceiling fan clicked once, twice. Outside, traffic honked like it always does at lunchtime. Inside me, everything was suddenly very still. I didn't cry in the cafe. I just folded the email printout carefully, tucked it into my purse, thanked Saad with a small nod, and walked back to the office through the dusty heat of Islamabad's afternoon. The sun burned the back of my neck. The smell of diesel and roasting corn from the roadside carts felt sharper than usual. My feet moved on their own while my mind replayed every late-night conversation with Mr. Farouk. Every time he called me beta like family. Every promise of, we're in this together. By the time I reached my desk, the decision was already made. Not out of anger, but out of something quieter and heavier. Clarity. I opened my personal laptop, attached every original file I still had, the ones I'd foolishly kept off the company drive for just in case. Wrote a short, professional email to the tender committee and copied HR, the managing director, and, after a long hesitation, Mr. Farouk himself. Subject, irregularities in Project Zenith submission process. I attached the proof Saad had given me, plus my own timestamps showing creation dates months before the supposed client feedback. I hit send at 3:47 p.m. The rest happened faster than I expected. By evening, whispers moved through the open-plan floor like wind through dry leaves. People stopped talking when I passed. At 6:15, the managing director called an emergency all-hands. Mr. Farouk wasn't there. Later I learned he'd been asked to leave the building immediately after a closed-door meeting. The official announcement the next morning was brief. Due to serious policy violations, Mr. Farouk Ahmed has been relieved of his duties. No details, no drama, just gone. But everyone knew. The junior designers who used to laugh over chai now looked at me with something between pity and respect. One of them, barely 25, slipped a cup of tea onto my desk without a word. It was strong, with cardamom. I drank it slowly. Ahmed picked me up that evening. I told him everything in the car while the children slept in the back seat, their small breaths steady against the hum of the engine. He didn't interrupt. When I finished, he reached over and squeezed my hand so hard it hurt. In the best way. You didn't just lose a year's work, he said quietly. You lost trust, but you didn't lose yourself. We drove home in silence after that, the streetlights sliding across our faces. The weeks that followed weren't easy. Apex offered me the promotion I'd been chasing. Too late, too hollow. I turned it down. Novaedge called again, this time with a real offer. Senior creative lead, better pay, flexible hours. I took it, not for revenge, but because they saw my work when my own company refused to. The leaking roof got fixed. We took the children to Murray for 3 days. Amina laughed so hard at the monkeys stealing biscuits that Ahmed and I couldn't stop smiling. Sometimes I still smell burnt coffee from those late nights and feel a small ache. But the ache is different now. It's not loss. It's memory. Mr. Farouk never apologized. I never asked him to. Some bridges burn for a reason. Life moves forward, even when trust breaks. You pick up the pieces that still matter, you hold your family closer, and you keep walking. And you learn this. The people who try to erase you usually end up erasing themselves. If you've ever had someone in power take something you built with your own hands and heart, would you have sent that email? Or would you have started over in silence? Tell me in the comments. This is Broken Trust Stories. If a story like this ever helped you feel less alone, hit that like button, share it with someone who needs to hear it, and subscribe so you don't miss the next one.